Categorical message to China. Arunachal Pradesh Chief Minister Pema Khandu has said that no Indian state, including Arunachal Pradesh, shares a border directly with China, but it does so with Tibet. He clarified that Arunachal Pradesh shares 3 international boundaries, approximately 100 kilometers with Bhutan, around 1,200 kilometers with Tibet, and 550 kilometers with Myanmar.
We share border with Tibet.
Yes, right. With Tibet, yes. 1,200 kilometers.
1,200 kilometers. Originally, देखिए आप मैप देखिए. इनफैक्ट इंडिया से कोई भी स्टेट डायरेक्टली चाइना से बॉर्डर शेयर नहीं करता है. वी शेयर बॉर्डर विद टिबेट ओनली. ठीक है, 1950 में चाइना लोग वहाँ आके टिबेट को जबरदस्ती कब्जा किया, वो बात अलग है. So, तो ऑफिशियली यस टिबेट अभी चाइना का अंडर में है. दैट कांट बी रूल आउट. बट ओरिजिनली वी शेयर बॉर्डर विद टिबेट. और अरुणाचल में वी शेयर 3 इंटरनेशनल बाउंड्रीज विद भूटान अप्रोक्सीमेटली 150 किलोमीटर्स, और टिबेट के साथ में करीबन 1,200 किलोमीटर्स, विच इज वन ऑफ द लॉन्गेस्ट इन द कंट्री. और ईस्टर्न साइड में म्यांमार करीबन 550 किलोमीटर्स के आसपास.
So that was, of course, Pema Khandu saying that Arunachal Pradesh shares a border with Tibet. Let me go across to my colleague Srinjoy Chaudhary for more on this. Srinjoy, a very interesting timing in which the comments have been made. We're also, of course, speaking not very long after the 90th birth anniversary celebrations of the Dalai Lama and the comments that were made by our Parliamentary Affairs Minister Kiren Rijiju as well about the significance of the occasion. Now, of course, you have a sitting Chief Minister of Arunachal Pradesh claiming that the border that the state shares, the international border, is with Tibet. What are the implications of this comment, Srinjoy?
First of all, he's geographically speaking right, because that area, even the Chinese refer to as TAR, Tibet Administrative Area. So he's right. There's nothing wrong with that. But he's also saying that historically, for hundreds and hundreds of years, that area was Tibet. There's no dispute about that. It's only in the 1950s, in the early 1950s, that the Chinese PLA entered and took over Tibet. Now that is something that India regretted, because India should have stood up and not recognized Tibet, is what many people say. That takeover of Tibet by China is not something India should have recognized. And that was done, is what people still believe. Many experts believe that. Now, what the Chief Minister is saying is really that perhaps in 1950-51, we ought not to have actually recognized the takeover of Tibet by China.
Srinjoy, we're also currently being joined by my colleague Shreya as well as Pragya. But Shreya, coming to you first, very important comments being made by Mr. Pema Khandu. And this also comes at a time when, like we discussed earlier, the Parliamentary Affairs Minister, Mr. Kiren Rijiju, among others, were present at the 90th birth anniversary celebrations of the Dalai Lama as well. And that's something that did not go very well with the Chinese who raised objections. And now, of course, we can expect a reaction coming from China as well to what Mr. Pema Khandu has said.
Absolutely, Siddharth. This kind of a sharp response from the Arunachal Pradesh Chief Minister not just comes amid Dalai Lama's birthday celebrations, it also comes amid the fact that the Chinese keep on attempting to rename Indian territories as per their language, as per their name, which the government of India has repeatedly refuted and denied. And the Ministry of External Affairs has always said that Indian territories are our own and China has no right to rename them. So keeping this in context, I think Arunachal Pradesh Chief Minister giving out such a statement, in fact clarifying that we do not share a border with China and instead we share a border with Tibet, goes on to reflect the kind of sentiment that prevails in the northeastern states, clearly sending out a message. You asked Srinjoy, what are the implications of this kind of a statement? The implication is simple and clear, that our territories are our territories. You have no right to meddle with them, something that China and the Xi Jinping administration have done multiple times in the past. And that sinister ploy has gone on to expand in the Brahmaputra river also, something that the Chinese call the Yarlung Tsangpo river, on which they are making the world's largest dam. Now, the Arunachal Pradesh Chief Minister also mentioned that dam and said that this is a ticking water bomb, which is more of an existential threat and more dangerous than the Chinese PLA, than the Chinese military. Therefore,
in fact, Shreya, let me just interrupt you there for a moment. We'll in fact play out that particular bite on the part of the Arunachal Pradesh Chief Minister. Fitting comments being made by him. Let's also remember that when certain athletes from the state of Arunachal Pradesh had visited China, China ended up provoking India by providing them stapled visas. But Mr. Khandu, in that interview, also said that the forcible and the forceful occupation of Tibet by China cannot be denied. And China forcibly occupied the Tibetan area in 1950 on the question of the world's largest dam that Shreya also referred to, that China is building on their side of the Brahmaputra river. The Arunachal Pradesh Chief Minister said that this is a ticking water bomb, which is an existential threat, more dangerous than the Chinese military itself. Let's listen into that specific bite on the part of the Arunachal Pradesh Chief Minister.
ये थोड़ा सा कंसर्न एक बात है आपने जो बताया तो लास्ट टाइम 2021 में जो चाइनीज गवर्नमेंट का प्रीमियर वहाँ में अरुणाचल का बॉर्डर में आके गया वो आके उस प्रोजेक्ट को भी देख के गया फिर वापस जाके बीजिंग में उन लोगों का 5 ईयर प्लान में उस प्रोजेक्ट को शामिल कर दिया तो वहाँ में अरुणाचल का बॉर्डर में वो लोग को प्लान कर रहा है कि एक बहुत बड़ा दुनिया का सबसे बड़ा हाइड्रो पावर प्रोजेक्ट बनाने का करीबन 60,000 मेगावाट तो उसको लेके सभी लोग चिंतित हैं तो अगर चाइना इंटरनेशनल वाटर ट्रीटी का अगर सिग्नेटरी होता तो हम लोगों के लिए प्रॉब्लम नहीं है क्योंकि उसमें जो डाउन द लाइन जो बेसिन में जितना पानी छोड़ना है अपना जो एक्वा लाइफ मेरीन लाइफ के लिए जितना पानी चाहिए मैंडेटरी जो छोड़ना है वो उसको छोड़ना ही पड़ता है इनफैक्ट अगर वो लोग इंटरनेशनल वाटर ट्रीटी शेयरिंग का अगर सिग्नेटरी होता तो हम लोगों के लिए ये प्रोजेक्ट जो है ब्लेसिंग इन डिस्गाइज होना था क्योंकि हम समर्स में देखिए हमारे वहाँ में भी काफ़ी फ्लडिंग होता है वो फ्लडिंग असम में होता है इट गोज टिल बांग्लादेश तो एक प्रोजेक्ट अगर बड़ा डैम या जो भी स्ट्रक्चर वहाँ टिबेट में आ जाता तो हमारा फ्लडिंग जो है वो मॉडरेट हो जाता provided if China could have been the signatory
and abides by
the international water sharing law. लेकिन चाइना तो सिग्नेटरी नहीं है अभी प्रॉब्लम उसमें है अभी प्रॉब्लम इसलिए है क्योंकि चाइना का भरोसा नहीं है
Now, Mr. Pema Khandu's sharp response comes amid China's multiple attempts to change the names of Indian territories, including Arunachal Pradesh, Ladakh, as well as Himachal Pradesh. Let me go across to my colleague Pragya as well, who joins us for more on this. Pragya, these are interesting times as far as relations between India and China are concerned, because a national security advisor, Mr. Ajit Doval, did meet Wang Yi not very long ago. Subsequently, of course, there have been several interactions pertaining to our contested border as well in the aftermath of what happened in Galwan. So while bilateral ties continues, there's still plenty of tension vis-a-vis the relationship between both the countries. Give us a perspective on how the political class in India has been responding to this.
Absolutely, Siddharth, and I would say that the foreign policy of China is that of expansionist, and no one is denying any of that. In fact, External Ministry, if you remember in May, when China tries to rename few of the areas within the state of Arunachal Pradesh, they said this is just the imagination of the China. Well, they are renaming the areas, and this is far away from the realistic situation on the ground. And this is exactly what has been reiterated by CM of Arunachal Pradesh, Mr. Pema Khandu, when he says that China cannot be trusted and we do not share boundary with China. We share it with Tibet, which was occupied by China in 1950. So we still maintain, while the China says that Arunachal is Stangnan, which is southern Tibet, we maintain that Arunachal is a part of India and is an integral part of India, and we will continue to maintain that. And we would also, acknowledge the existence of Tibet, which is an irritant for China, and we are using it, in a way to also keep China in check. This is exactly the reason why two of the ministers from the Modi cabinet went to 90th birthday celebration of Dalai Lama in Dharamshala this time, also to say that we acknowledge the existence of Tibet. Tibet is still there. It is under occupation of China. Well, China is perturbed about this fact that we maintain that, but we also say that Arunachal is very much a territory of India and you have no right whatsoever on it. You may try to become expansionist, which has been a problem with China, and this has been a foreign policy of China for quite some time now. But external ministry have every time come out with directives to China not to do anything, not to indulge in any of that, and also say that you keep on doing that, but this is not a reality that we adhere to and we accept. The problem is that there are many treaties that China is not part of. One is International Water Treaty that Mr. Pema has spoken about, and in fact the kind of expansion and kind of development project that China is bringing on the borders is also a cause of concern, and this is what has been voiced by CM of Arunachal Pradesh, Mr. Khandu, this time.
And let's also not forget what our armed forces have said about Chinese involvement during, of course, Operation Sindoor, in passing crucial intelligence as well as information to Pakistan. But let's once again, in fact, listen in to what the Arunachal Pradesh Chief Minister, Mr. Pema Khandu, said specifically about the borders that the state of Arunachal Pradesh shares with Tibet.
We share border with Tibet.
Yes, right. With Tibet, yes. 1200
yes,
kilometers.
1200 kilometers. Originally, देखिए आप मैप देखिए, इनफैक्ट इंडिया से कोई भी स्टेट डायरेक्टली चाइना से बॉर्डर शेयर नहीं करता है. वी शेयर बॉर्डर विद टिबेट ओनली. ठीक है, 1950 में चाइना लोग वहाँ आके टिबेट को जबरदस्ती कब्जा किया, वो बहुत अलग है. सो तो ऑफिशियली यस, टिबेट अभी चाइना का अंडर में है, दैट कांट बी रूल आउट, बट ओरिजिनली वी शेयर बॉर्डर विद टिबेट. और अरुणाचल में वी शेयर 3 international boundaries with Bhutan, approximately 150 kilometers, और टिबेट के साथ में करीबन 1200 किलोमीटर्स, which is one of the longest in the country. और ईस्टर्न साइड में म्यांमार करीबन 550 किलोमीटर्स के आसपास.
Well, let me go across to Mr. Vijay Kranti, Indo-China relations expert, who also joins us right now. Mr. Kranti, thank you for speaking to Times Now. There have been multiple high-level interactions with our Chinese counterparts in recent times as well, but we don't often see Tibet directly featuring as part of those discussions. How are the Chinese likely now to respond to the comments that have been made about Tibet by the Arunachal Pradesh Chief Minister, and earlier, of course, what Mr. Kiren Rijiju, among others, had said about Dalai Lama's 90th birth anniversary celebrations as well? Give us a perspective, sir.
Yeah, China, we cannot expect anything better from China. They are bound to react the same way as they have been reacting always. And this time, Mr. Kiren Rijiju and Mr. Pema Khandu, the Chief Minister, both of them have handled and commented on India's China relations vis-a-vis Tibet in the real term, which actually it should have been done. Mr. Pema Khandu has said it very clearly that we don't have border with China. Our border is with Tibet. And similarly, Mr. Kiren Rijiju has said that China has nothing to do with the Dalai Lama's reincarnation. It is Dalai Lama and his own establishment which have every right. So these two statements, I would say, some people think that they are contradicting with the New Delhi approach. No. It is a part of, in my opinion, it is a part of New Delhi's approach. New Delhi is dealing with China in its own way. But at the same time, there are other dimensions like telling China that your claims about Indian areas of Arunachal or Ladakh are simply because you are sitting illegally over Tibet. And we have to challenge it. So far, Indian government was never doing it, and this time to statutory authorities, to official authorities have done that. So I look at it as a kind of a part of the new Indian government's approach towards China, which is welcome.
Okay, thanks, Mr. Kranti. Let me also go across to Colonel Arasan Singh for a perspective on this. Colonel Arasan Singh, now the Ministry of External Affairs, in one of its parliamentary replies, had reminded a certain member of parliament who asked this question about India's stand on Tibet. And in its response, it said in the declaration on the principles for relations and comprehensive cooperation signed by the two prime ministers on 23rd June 2003, it is stated that the Indian side recognizes that the Tibet Autonomous Region is part of the territory of the People's Republic of China. Now, this dates back to 2003. That was 22 years ago. Do you see any shift forthcoming in the Indian position on this very contentious matter?
No, first it was, that Tibet is an autonomous region of China.
Correct.
Then it was revised to, Tibet Autonomous Region is part of China.
Yes.
Whatever are, I don't know what were the compulsions. But the fact of the matter is that we don't share border with China. We share border with Tibet. Now, this has got, big connotations, and ramifications. The general Indian mindset is, when you say you compare the inventories between the two countries, you say so many submarines, China has so many, India has so many frigates, Chinese have so many tanks, so many, you compare. Is it fair? It is applicable, or are submarines applicable to say Tibet?
Okay.
Or say the entire manpower, is it applicable to Tibet? Only a portion of it. So what happens is that, when you say India-China border, you are, making, an average Chinese 7 feet tall. That is one. The second is that why should we, give up all our diplomatic leverages? Yes, at some point of time, as I said, I don't know what were the compulsions. We agreed on a formulation.
Correct.
But has China responded in a favorable manner, or has China given up all its strategic leverages against India? That is the question.
Absolutely.
And once you have, you are doing all kinds of things, in cahoots with Pakistan.
Yes.
You are, trying to,
clearly aid and abet Pakistan even during Operation Sindoor. Many thanks, Colonel Arasan Singh. I'm afraid we have to cut it short because we have to slip into a short break. But pertinent comments coming from Colonel Arasan Singh about what Mr. Pema Khandu, the Chief Minister of Arunachal Pradesh, shared countries with which Arunachal Pradesh shares a border. We'll slip into a short break.